Today's guest is Jake LeGrand of LeGrand Metalworks.
I'm a structural engineer. I've been doing that for 7 years now. And we were like blasting through some steel beam, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the coolest experience. That right when I just went, I'm like, I'm hooked. They had a Hobart 12 CI built-in air compressor, plasma cutter for like $500. And so that was my graduation gift. And the first thing I made with it was like a little giraffe for my wife. And she loved it. And then it just kind of kept going. You'll see in my bio, skill collector.
Yeah.
I love just acquiring little bits and pieces. Me finding the trades was what led to all of this. I mean, who would have thought I'd been on a podcast?
Welcome to the Still Building America podcast with your co-host Josh Welton
and Darla Welton. Americans haven't forgotten how to work with our hands. There's a dynamic generation of young fabricators, blacksmiths, machinists, welders, hot rod builders, metal workers, manufacturing entrepreneurs, and artists who are still building America.
Welcome to the Fabricator Podcast. My name is Dan Davis. I am with the Fabricator Magazine. My co-host is
Lincoln Bruner with the Tube and Pipe Journal and the Fabricator.
Thank you for joining us today. Today's guest is Jake LeGrand of LeGrand Metalworks from the great state of Missouri.
Yeah, just south of Kansas City.
Yes. Yeah. He's kind of out there, though, for saying he's an hour away from the big metro area. It seems like he's way out there a little bit.
He is a Cardinals fan, but he's a good guy anyway. I like him.
Yeah. Wow. You don't even say that to his face. You wait till he left. Anyway, going to learn a little bit about his background, his story, getting to the point where he formed LeGrand Metalworks, and also how he's leaning into his social media in hopes of maybe kind of doing that full time and gaining the freedom he wants as a young person and a member of a young family.
Yeah, and early 30s. He's got this dual focus in life, which seems to work for him, which is this big social media presence. And he's starting a hobby farm, kind of in the middle of nowhere in northern Missouri. But a good guy. I mean, just talking to this guy, I mean, he's got such a great perspective on life. But he reminds me of my grandfathers, who were both farmers, both dairy farmers out on the plains way back in the day. And just that, what he was talking about, that very much, that optimistic can-do attitude that he carries into everything, kind of, vis-a-vis his father's restaurant business and all that. But he's just got this flair about him. Like, I want to do this thing, and I think I can.
Yeah. It's interesting how many people we meet in metal fabricating that have origins based in a rural environment where
for sure.
that you kind of have to do things for yourself to get things going again.
Yeah, you learn out of necessity. I mean, my grandfathers taught themselves how to weld. They taught themselves how to bend metal. My one grandfather, my mom's dad, was a tinsmith, worked on missile silos out in South Dakota back in the 50s, and just one of those people who could do just about everything with his hands. And I think Jake's probably one of those people too.
Yeah. When I picked him up from the hotel this morning, he said it's just a combination of ADHD and caffeine helping him drive.
Power brother.
But yeah, that guy said he says he wakes up at 4 a.m. every morning to start working on his metal fabrication projects.
Yeah, and then goes to his day job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's doing all this while maintaining a career. It helps to have a flexible employer, so that's good. Yeah. So I think everybody will enjoy it. He's kind of doing it backwards a little bit in terms of finding the career after a 4-year college stint. Yeah. But I think that's going to be a little bit more common as people kind of discover that working with their hands can be an alternative to maybe sitting behind a desk. Yeah,
and like in the meantime, he's doing both, which is more power to him. He's got this ability to bounce back, back and forth between the two. That's kind of impressive.
Yep,
yeah. And he knows how to market himself too.
That's right.
Yep, a few helpful tips through this episode. Particularly when it comes to training 3-year-olds to drive skid steers. So that's what they call them, major T's. So please stick around and learn what we're talking about. Enjoy.
What's next for metal fabrication? Tim Heston here, host of the Next Gen Metal Fab podcast. I talk with forward-thinking fabrication shop owners about the ideas, strategies, and technology shaping the future of the business. We explore how leaders are innovating, what's driving change, and what it takes to stay ahead in a fast-moving industry. If you're curious about the future of fabrication and want actionable insights for your shop, hit follow on the Next Gen Metal Fab podcast.
Thanks for joining us today, Jake of LeGrand Metalworks and many other things.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Give our audience a little bit about your background.
Well, grew up in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, about an hour south of St. Louis, and went to a super small school, about 200 kids. Like that was elementary through high school.
Because it was Cape Girardeau.
Yeah, Cape Girardeau. I guess I should, for the people that are local, it's Oak Ridge is where I went to school. That way they're not like, you didn't go to Cape. But
we should have a noise effect when somebody gives their hometown.
But parents had a restaurant for 22 years.
Oh,
worked
wow.
in that. That was my, let's see here. I started working in the restaurant probably 7th or 8th grade, just doing dishes and stuff. And then it ramped up to doing caterings. And my dad and I, we just do 400 people catering, just he and I, you know, just every weekend.
Okay.
So yeah, worked hard.
Yeah.
You got used to heavy lifting.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, that's no lie. A full thing of kettle beef or mashed potatoes. Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
And like, it would get to the point, like when you're stirring the mashed potatoes, I'd had, Dad, you got to take over. I can't do it. It's too tough. And then of course, when I graduated from helping my brother, they got a drill. And I was like, I see how it is.
That is the curse of the oldest in the family.
Yeah. So did that for a while. And ended up going to University of Kansas. I've always been drawing houses, painting houses. I just love houses. And so I thought I wanted to be an architect. Went to the orientation at KU and saw all the art classes basically behind being architecture. And that was not for me. It was just too conceptual, not mechanical, which then I found out they're like, oh, well, we have architectural engineering. And I was like, okay, that's intriguing. And basically they told us out of that degree, you could branch off into almost any, I'll just say genre of engineering, because we took lighting, we took HVAC, structural, we did some plumbing, electrical. Like we took a class of every discipline. So I end up with structural. So I'm a structural engineer. I've been doing that for 7 years now. And I guess how I got here, I needed some money. So I just did not want to work like a fast food job and have crazy hours. I was already taking like 18 credit hours every single semester. Oof. So full load, I'm like, I just can't do, I can't do that type of stuff and then keep up with decent grades. So found within probably most schools, there's an undergrad research department where your upper level, I guess, just other college students and then graduate students, they're doing all their theses and stuff. So they need manpower to either build the things they're doing or just help out with computation, modeling. And I got in the lab, and that's where I learned how to weld. We started off, I think my first day, I was working with a senior there, and he's like, all right, what do you want to do today? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, well, we're building forms, we're building rebar, and we're probably going to be doing some welding. And I was like, okay, right on. And so we did everything. And
So you showed up to work there?
yeah, so I worked
okay.
on campus, so it was great. When I was setting up my classes, I'd purposely try to put a split somewhere. So try to either force everything to the front or the back or split down the middle, and then just take the school bus, because it was on the other side of the campus, the research lab, take the bus, take you to work, clock in, clock out, bus take you back to class.
Nice.
How far away was the lab from the actual campus?
Well, so it was still on campus, but they considered it like West Campus.
Yeah.
But from the building that I did all my classes in, if you were to walk, I bet it's at least 3-4 miles.
Okay.
It would have been a jaunt.
So it's interesting because one of the things we talk about are different career paths for people in the field.
Yeah.
And the people who are actually supervising these labs probably have fab experience of some sort, manufacturing experience. And this story it always sticks in the back of my mind, visiting a fabricator out on the West Coast, and they would invite local college students like San Jose State, maybe Sacramento State in the area. And then he mentioned Stanford students. And I'm thinking, like, people are paying a Stanford tuition and not getting this type of exposure.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So, I mean, to have that type of availability on a campus is probably a good initial introduction for a lot of these students who maybe have just been in engineering and not necessarily manufacturing.
Mm-hmm. And it gives you a real, like, when you see a column and you look at all the rebar, and it's like the specific test that I worked for most of my time there. Because when I first started out, I was hired under a professor. Mm-hmm. So you basically work under the professor and then under the lab manager, which he was a welder he welded pipeline.
Yeah.
That was his experience. But so I worked under that specific professor, and we were testing concrete of all different, basically concrete columns, 10 foot to 15 foot tall, all sorts of ranges and widths, different size rebar, different hook configurations, whether it's a flat, J, angled, all sorts of different configurations. And like they had a strong floor and a strong wall. So the floor is like 10 foot thick with just these cutouts where they can, I think we used like number 12 or 14 or something rebar to basically pull the wall apart. Huh. I mean, it was insane. I mean, you're standing next to this and you're like, wait a second. This is pulling through the floor or trying to, and the floor is so strong that it can't do it. So it's just breaking up here. Like it was wild. So seeing that firsthand of like when you see bridges on the highway and like you see like the little buckling out the side and like, like it's actually got a lot more capacity still. Yeah, like that's just the top cover popping off. And it's just like, so it gives you real life experiences. And then also just like, I worked with kids that were in my classes and they had no instinct of what to do when you grab a drill.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying you need to know that whenever you're at the computer designing, but one thing that helped me is in my current job is doing detailing. Mm-hmm. Now I think about, can you even get a MIG gun in that configuration? So I do a lot of residential work. So it's all prefab stuff in the shop, or if it's in the field, it's usually just welding beams to columns. But thinking about, okay, so they have a bunch of combustible materials right here.
Right.
Is this going to work? Or are they going to, do we need to put a note, per contractor, watch combustible materials, yada, 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 like stuff like that. So it gives you a real life experience of just extra notes to put on the plans to cover everybody, basically.
Right. Well, that sounds like a really great incubator for young minds. Mm-hmm. And you're getting an idea not only of what you want to do for a living, but also how to do it in real time, right?
Correct.
So how did that lead to where you are now? Like, trying to trace that back for us.
So what happened was, I worked on that professor for 2 years, and then actually the boss there was like, hey, you are too valuable. You need to get pulled off of basically working under the professor, and you need to work under the University of Kansas. He's like, you need to be like on my side of things. I'm like,
wow.
Okay. And so I don't think I had an official title, but it was just basically lab tech. And with that, all of a sudden everything opened up. I was working on hydraulic rams. I was doing hydraulic hoses, like doing the couplers and fittings. I helped make there was a fluid mechanics professor. He had a tunnel chase that he basically was throwing water through, and he wanted me to fab up basically a blockade that could be shifted from the outside but still be full coverage in the tank. And they were studying basically how the water like was bending around. I haven't been in fluid mechanics in a while. I took that class and it sucked, but they were like measuring the all the cavitation and just how it molded around all that stuff. And so, I just got introduced to everything: welding, plasma cutting. And with that, there was also a lot of downtime because you'd be waiting on the next step.
Sure.
So boss man was like, hey, I want a fresh egg sign. Go cut me one. Because at that point he'd seen that I could kind of plasma cut, kind of put some stuff together. So I made a little fresh egg sign. Turned out really good. And then I made a, what was it?
Was that his side gig?
No, that was just something he wanted for his, oh, sorry. Yeah. No, he, I think kind of it was, but it was also just something for me to do.
Yeah.
Because that was the one thing that I do appreciate is he gave me things to do that weren't just like dummy tasks. Like they had a real purpose.
Right.
Then like he had a little garden and he wanted a pheasant cut out. He loves bird hunting. And he's like, I just want some metal pheasants around my property. I was like, okay, cool. And so we got slow and he's like, hey, go cut some pheasants. You know?
I get that a lot, too.
Yeah, I bet. And so we just started cutting, putting things together, and then started making signs for myself. And then at that point, I was just graduating.
Are you using CNC or
No, that was all hand cut.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they had my first time ever plasma cutting was in that lab. I used a cut, what was it? A Thermodynamics 102. And we were like blasting through some steel beam, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the coolest experience. That right when I just went, I'm like, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Like the molten metal just flies away. And so I used that. I think I was using like a tomahawk something or whatever for those pheasants. But was getting ready to graduate, and my dad saw that I really enjoyed that type of stuff. And our local Buckeyes, actually on my hat, that's our local like hardware, basically everything store, feed, barn metal, all sorts. Kind of like a lower scale Menards, basically. And they had a Hobart 12 CI built-in air compressor plasma cutter for like $500. So that was my graduation gift. And the first thing I made with it was like a little giraffe for my wife, and she still has it. And it was like, I don't even think it was like the second date or something. I was way overboard, but I was like, hey, I made this for you.
Wow.
And she loved it. And then it just kind of kept going. Like,
So you're actually like creating templates before you start the cutting, right? So I mean, there's some artistic talent there,
for
right?
sure. The pheasant, I just got some poster board, drew it up in my apartment, cut it out, laid it down. I think I remember what I did. On the giraffe, I just went to Pinterest and found a picture I liked, printed it out on printer paper.
Gotcha.
Took a little X-Acto knife, traced it out, and that's what I did for the longest time. Is everything was on printer paper. So like, that's where the day job kind of comes in. Boss man knew that I was doing this type of stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, if you want to use the printer, just keep it modest, because a 36 by 24."
Good for you for having official permission.
Yeah,
Wow.
I did ask that. I was staying over there one day. I was like, I should ask, because this is a big piece of paper, and I know that printer is probably like $9,000 printer or something.
I'm printing out 1,000 pages of like an NCAA tournament pool.
Yeah,
Don't tell anybody.
And they had this gigantic table, and I'd have like all these signs laid down. He's like, "What you doing?" I was like, "Oh, these are all the things that you gave me permission." Oh, okay. I just wanted to put.
I just want to remind you that you gave me permission.
I wanted to
do it.
remind him. You said I could do this, and so I like always would put lines and everything, and basically just you cut the line and you line everything back up, tape it, roll it, and then you just take it to your piece of steel and trace it.
Nice.
And I did that for a long time, probably 2 years.
Wow. I'm really curious about the whole mindset, because obviously you've not divorced yourself completely from the artistic muse, right?
Yeah.
But first, we have a lot of people who listen to the podcast who are using handheld plasma torches. They're out there, for whatever purpose they need to in the shop or at home. And do you have any like instruction? Do you have any like tips for people who are doing that, who are thinking, I don't know, this is kind of, this is a powerful tool. How did you get into it, and how did you become used to using it well?
Gotcha.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, no, I like that. The biggest thing I'll tell you is don't use the drag shield that comes with. That is so limiting. It's great for learning and getting that a consistent tip distance from the material. But what happens is, so it's got two prongs. I think they're basically all the same across manufacturers. They have two kind of half-rounded prongs that come down. And what happens is when you're in the hood and as you're articulating the torch around, that now gets in the view of the actual flame, and you just can't see what you're doing. So first tip, get rid of that. You don't need that. Maybe use it just to like get used to the machine, but you don't keep that forever. What I always do, and for the people that are just listening, I basically take 2 fingers, and that's my distance for my torch for thermodynamics. Obviously, if you have like a hypertherm, like the distance of everything's a little different. But I know with my welding gloves, 2 fingers, set my hand, that's the correct height.
And get your fingers out of the way before you turn.
Keep your fingers out. That would not be good. But yeah, just Like, so little things like that, like finding quick, easy references back to keeping consistent height, because that affects the dross, cut quality, just overall speed too. Honestly, really just using it and knowing that as long as you have your PPE, you're not going to get hurt. Like, even if you get a little spark, it's just a little spark.
Right.
It's not going to hurt. I mean, welding spatter hurts more than plasma, jet. So it's more of you just got to get in there and use it and just know that you're going to be okay. Like I think I actually saw a video the other day of a guy was teaching his wife how to use a circular saw. He's like, honey, it sounds big. It is big. It's a little heavy. He's like, as long as you use it correctly and you go slow, it's not going to hurt you. Right. And I was like, well, you can use that for a lot of things in life, honestly.
Yeah. So when did LeGrand Metalworks officially launch? So
I was JL Signage and Metal Art in 2018 because I thought I had to have a DBA to be doing business. And I think I made a sign for my father-in-law and I charged him $100, and I thought that was just crazy. And it was like not even that good. Like looking back, I mean, actually, if you scroll all the way down on my social media, you'll find the pheasant and you'll find this little, it's like a jumping bass out of water. I put these little dainty chains to like hold his name. He put it on his dock the first day, it like blew away basically. And so like
nature has spoken.
Yeah. And yeah.
Charging your father-in-law for anything is
exactly. Because at that
laid.
point, and it's funny, I hope he listens to this. I was already 2 or 3 strikes because I was a Cardinals fan. I went to KU, he went to Mizzou, and he's like, dude, you got one more strike. The only thing that saved me was I was Jake from State Farm. I showed up one day in khakis and a red polo, and I think from that point on I was good. But yeah, so did the JL Signage and Metal Art for a while, and then I felt like that was cooping me into just signs. And I was like, I don't want that. So we ended up moving to a different property in 2020. And so in 2020, I did a LLC and LeGrand Metalworks began.
And when did you start the social media aspect of it?
2018. Yeah, when I started JL Signage Metal Art, I started the social media. At that point, it was mainly because I had just moved 5.5 hours away from everyone I know.
Oh, wow.
Because I grew up in the Cape Girardeau area.
Yeah.
Friedheim is the town I grew up in, but now I'm 5.5 hours away. I basically know no one. Mm-hmm. I just know my coworkers at the day job. And so it was just a way to like show people like, hey, this is what I'm working on, working the shop, just kind of just keeping everyone updated was all that it was supposed to be. Sure. And then you hit 500 followers, then you hit 1,000 followers. And then you start to think, wow, if you think about 1,000 people in a room,
mm-hmm.
that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they chose to follow you off of the stuff that at that time was not that impressive.
Yeah, what were you doing there?
Just all signage.
Yeah.
It was all mainly signage. I mean, I remember one of the signs I did, it was for a lady back home. I think I charged her, I don't know, like $600 or something, and it was just a single layer sign, and I put like a plexiglass color on the back, which that's a tip. I'll share that tip. If you paint plexiglass on one side with like roller brush, and then you peel the film on the other side, it will look like it's manufactured that way. Because if you put enough layers, it coats up and it basically just builds up a paint layer. So when you flip it over and peel the plastic, it looks like it was manufactured that way. So hopefully someone uses that. But yeah, so I took the sign back home and she loved it so much she tipped me $200.
No kidding.
Wow.
I was like,
on top of the 6. Nice.
oh my gosh. And I thought, $800 on a piece of metal. I was like, oh my gosh, that's insane.
You can call your father-in-law.
I did.
Hey,
well,
dude, you got
at that
deal.
time, let's see here. Yeah, no, I was with his daughter then. Yeah. But no, I think I called my dad because I was like, can you believe someone just tipped me $200 on a sign that they actually paid for? It wasn't like it was a piece and then, they tipped me because it was all, like they tipped me on top of paying me.
Yeah.
I just thought that was insane.
Yeah. I'm still amazed that at this point you're still doing manual plasma cutting, right?
Yeah. I think it's just because, so for people that don't know, so I have the day job. I work 40 hours a week, 40, 50, and then I watch my 1 and 3-year-old throughout the day. So a lot going on. So the manual plasma cutting is honestly a way for me to just focus on the arc and just on all the podcasts I hear, like, oh, when I flip my hood down, it just stops.
Right.
That's exactly what it is.
So for now, like a CNC plasma table would be sort of beside the point for you in a way. Am I hearing you right?
I think I'm looking at kind of at how Ray Ray Ripple has introduced it.
Yeah.
I like that she does the hand cut stuff for more of her artistic stuff, and then the signs that are, they're just getting bigger, more complex.
Right.
The CNC makes sense, and
Right.
I'm finally at that point where, I'll say it. I've botched some signs. I've done some signs that I'm like, I wish I would have had a CNC because that would have turned out a lot better. Like,
Right.
I think it still looks good, but knowing that it could be better, because I go back to that $100 jumping bass sign that was just crud. And as I've progressed and, skills get better, your signs get more like as everything progresses, you start to think, okay, so everything else around me has progressed. I've gotten better tools, better, use of moving material, using material. And it's like, what's the one bottleneck right now? And it's a CNC. So that's something I'm looking at acquiring, because like just the other day, right before I left, in that 4 to 9 shift I was talking about, I needed to make some brackets for a guy, and he wanted oblong slots. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just drill the holes, and then I'll take the plasma, because I couldn't find a cutoff wheel, and plasma them out. And they looked okay. But it's just like, man, this is a perfect example. I could have said, you know what? Because I have CAD experience. I do that throughout the day.
Right.
Sure.
I could have drawn those up and cut that out in 7 minutes. And it took me, I don't know, probably an hour by the time you get everything traced out, fire up the plasma cutter, cut everything, grind the dross, clean up the edges.
Yeah.
Granted, you still have to do some of that with the CNC, but
Right.
a lot limited.
How big a table would you want?
Oh, it would have to be at least a 4x8. I would like a 5x10, because I do find here recently I'm buying a lot of 5x10 sheets.
Yeah.
One, because for the local supplier, they're actually like per square inch, it's better for me because of most of my signs. They end up being always like 3 foot tall. So then I always have, it's like on a 4 foot sheet, I always have a 1 foot strip. I'm like, man, what am I gonna do with that?
Yeah, right.
But I get a lot of 3 foot and 2 foot signs. So now on that 5x10, I can almost get 2 to 3 signs. So I'm just maximizing my material better with that.
Sure. What do you find, Jake? What do you find in terms of the business versus the doing, or the planning versus the doing, the getting of the customers, the soliciting work?
Just
how are you finding that balance working for you right now?
Balance doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I hate when people say work-life balance, because that's not really true.
Yeah.
When you're trying to chase something, that's just not
Right.
That's just, it's not feasible.
Right.
You'll just never progress.
Right.
So it's tough. With the social media thing, I do get, now that I've gathered a decent amount of following, all of a sudden, to outside eyes, it looks credible. That's definitely a real thing, because once I hit like 5,000 followers, all of a sudden people DM me asking like, hey, can you make this sign? It just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
But up to that point, you just look like another person on social media. I'm not necessarily standing out per se. But yeah, so it's mainly all social media. I've built up a lot of local business signs, and then that just turns into, hey, I have something on my camper that needs fixed. Got it. I go over there, fix it, and then it just leads to like repair work has been really big for me, because those quick jobs that get someone out of a pinch then leads to, well, hi, he really helped me out there. Well, I know this guy, he's looking to get a new entryway for his gate. Like, would you? Yes, I'd be interested. So it's
heroes get business.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely tough trying to juggle all those things, trying to push invoices and acquire new customers, keep the current customers up to date on projects. Freight here lately, freight for me is a nightmare. Shipping stuff out, because where I am, it's a minimum an hour drive just to go drop the said thing off.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I just recently got a skid steer. So now they can come to me.
Oh.
So up to that point, shipping anything out was just such a hassle, because like I shipped 2 conference room tables. The crates were like 10 foot long, maybe 4 foot wide or so. I mean, they're just massive.
Yeah.
And I legit would just get a chain. I have a tilt deck trailer. I block up the wheels. I get the box close enough, tilt the trailer down, and hook up the truck and pull it up onto the trailer, because I had no other options.
Right.
So yeah, balancing all the things is honestly a nightmare, but sometimes it's fun, because going to my day job is I'm problem solving all day long. I'm, whether it's, a fresh new design on a house, roof trusses, stick frame. How do we track all that down? Or hey, the guy's installed, yada yada, and we got to fix it. So it's honestly just all day long. It's just a problem solving.
So I think it's important because you mentioned the hustle, and that's the difference. When you're doing that hustle, you don't have the luxury of having the work-life balance, right? Because you got a goal that,
correct.
It just when you turn off, that goal turns off.
Exactly.
So we were before we started recording. Can you go over your average day?
Yeah.
You were talking about working 4 to 9, and I initially thought like, well, yeah, you get off work, that makes sense. You're like, oh no, that's not.
So luckily the wife's part time. So on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I try to be in the shop from 4 to 9 in the morning, and then start the day job from 9 to whatever makes sense. I try to.
And you're working at home.
Yeah. So that is the biggest thing that's the biggest advantage I have over most people, is because most people are like, they're coming home and then it's like, okay, now I got to get out in the shop and go make those things. I'm already home. But it's also a con, because at lunch break, I'm like, oh, I could go paint that real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, I could go weld that one thing real quick. And next thing I know, it's been an hour and a half and I'm back late for the day job. So it's pros and cons. But yeah, so those are my Tuesday, Wednesdays, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I still try to get out there at 4, and then 4 to 6 or 7, I have to come in because then the wife's trying to get ready to go to work, and so it's busy. And I'd usually go, because people are like, oh, he probably goes to sleep at like 6 o'clock. No, it's not true. I have 2 kids. That's not how that works. Right. But I usually, usually 9:30, 10. But, and it's not every day. That's like my preferred schedule. I try to do all, like, just hustle throughout the week, so that weekends we can just like do whatever. Go get errands, go do fun things. Because that's the one thing that I took from my dad. With owning a restaurant, when the freezer goes out, the freezer's out.
Right.
There is no waiting. You have to go fix it. You got to figure out something. You either need to move all the product to a local, someone else that has a freezer, or you need to either start cooking things. And so that was like seeing him handle issues, and I wouldn't say like not being home a lot, because he found different ways. That's one reason why we work so much with him, is he couldn't come home, so he would just bring us to work, which I've deeply value, because the conversations I had with the old guys at, literally we called it the bullshit table. It's the guys that come in at 5 o'clock, and they're like, if you don't have the coffee pot already running, they will turn it on for you. That was these guys, and the amount of like lessons that I learned from just them, insane. Right. I mean, just because like even you're just walking around and filling, topping people off on the coffee, you just hear little snippets of like, oh, so-and-so, his tractor went down, blah, blah. He did this to fix it. And like just little things like that. There's a lot of life skills I learned in that. And then ultimately Dad was like, hey, they know you well enough now, you can open some days. Yeah. And then I'll just come in a little later, get a little sleep. Right. And at the time I was like, no, that's not fair. I go to school. I can't be. And then like looking at it now, I'm like, oh man, that is super fair. Like he was doing basically what I'm doing now. Right. And but what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to ramp this thing up fast, so that way when I pull apart, I have a set schedule of like, say I keep the 4 to 9, but then after 9, what do we do? What do we go do with the family? Because I'm trying to grow a farm too. Right. I don't know why I did that, but I love cows. I've always wanted cows, and we got 6 cows now. Okay. So
cows and houses. Okay. Huh? Cows and houses.
Cows and houses. Put that on the subtitle.
Another reason to get up early.
Another reason. Well, because right now actually I'm bottle feeding the calf. I go in. His name's Bear. So I walk in. Hey, Bear, turn on the lights, and because he's an Indu cow, so he doesn't sound like a normal cow. He's got a real deep tone to him.
So the good vocabulary.
Oh yeah. We talk all the time. But no, I love that cow. He's gonna be my shop cow. Like legit. I'm gonna try and everyone's trying to raise shop cats and dogs. No, I'm raising a shop cow. That's a real thing.
I think that would be an in social media wise.
Exactly. I'm always looking for little interesting things, because like
make yourself a scoop shovel.
Yeah, I literally just go in and I feed Bear, and then I fire up the generator. I'm, sorry, buddy, it's gonna be a little loud for a little bit. And then we go to work.
Shop cow. So, I mean, what like kind of map it out for us? And what is your dream for the next, say, 5 years? I mean, we talked before.
I'm so glad you asked that.
Yeah,
I had this come up on. I was telling Gareth that I've basically acquired some social media coaching to kind of help push everything forward. And they were like, every time you post, it needs to have a why, how, what. And I was like, okay. And they're like, start with, pretend you're on a podcast 5 years from now. What do you want to tell them? And for me, it is, I want to have freedom. And I want to be able to do the metalworking. I want to do the content creation, because I love just the artistic aspect of like just driving here. You know, I was getting certain shots, certain transitions of stuff. I really enjoy that. And the biggest thing here recently, there are so many people like me, mid-30s, I'll just say millennial, that they got the degree, they have the good paying job, and they just feel bleh. And I made a post actually this last Monday about it. The amount of people that have DM'd me saying, man, I'm in the same boat. I really like your help on how you navigate this. It's going to be a whole new content series of like showing people like the dream that was presented to you is not your dream. So let's find a way to find your dream. So that's part of my, in 5 years, I want to be able to help people. Either it's getting more people in the trades, just because that's me finding the trades was what led to all of this. I mean, who would have thought I'd been on a podcast?
Right.
I guess 5 years ago, really wasn't a lot of podcasts either,
There you go.
but
a lot fewer.
Yeah. And so like, I want to help people find that passion, whether it's welding, plasma cutting, just getting into the blue collar trades. I want to help people find that and chase passions and be able to develop more freedom for themselves. So the metalworking, the influencing, I want to have the farm up and going. It's 4L Cattle Co. That's what we named it. I just want to be doing what I want to do and hang out with the family. Because the boys, like I was telling you before we started, they are so intrigued with construction equipment, just how things are put together. Like, perfect example. There was on our deck, there was a carpenter bee that, made a perfect hole. All of a sudden, my son starts grabbing nuts and bolts, and he's trying to bolt the post together. And he goes and grabs his pliers and his channel locks. Like he just starts doing something. And so I want a space, and I'm working on a shop expansion right now. I want a space where they can come in and just do that, because that's actually what my dad did for me. We got to a point where the stuff I was building should not have ever been built. Like I built a goat pen that didn't have a gate. I put it all together with like some railroad ties and some scrap lumber that we had. And Dad comes around the corner. He's like, it's going to be kind of hard to get the goats in now, don't you think? And I look at him like, I think you're right.
We'll lift them over the wall.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because they weren't that big. I was like, well, we just lift them up in an hour. He's like, well, I don't want to do that. And I was like,
that's what adults are for, right?
And I was
Lifting
like,
goats.
You are right. I need to not be thinking about just me. And like, that's even something I do now with my builds, is because it is just me. I got to think of ways, how can my wife help me move things? Now, this was prior to the skid steer. Now it's like, hey, can you come hook this chain up? Like, because that's one bad thing. It's an enclosed cab, and I've learned once you get those arms up and hooked onto something, so I really need to get a set of pallet forks. But prior, I was always thinking, okay, can I build this in like 2 to 3 parts? And then she helped me move said part together somehow. And then at that point, figure out how it gets to its forever destination.
Is she aware of these plans that you have?
Oh yes,
okay.
She's on board, because she knows that if I get to achieve these things, she can be full-time stay-at-home, which is her dream.
There you go.
And so that's, as a provider for the family, it's not just monetary that you're providing, you're also providing what's needed for your spouse to chase their dream too. So I feel like by me doing all this crazy stuff now, it's going to let her live out her dream. And, now, because like her mom, they're snowbirds, so they go to Arizona when it gets cold. And with her being full-time now, she can spend more time with her mom, and that's not so much of a burden anymore. So it just goes so much deeper than those type of things. And that's like, there's a reason why I'm just going insane doing all this crazy stuff. It's because there is an end goal, and that's what it's going to be.
Right. Are you close to getting to the point where you'll be able to give up the day job?
And that's what's tough is
I
because
guess we better hope your boss isn't listening.
yeah,
to
well,
this.
but see, I've
on the clock here, Jake.
Yeah, no, I've brought them in on this because they have done so much for me that it would do them a disservice to not. Basically, how I see it going is I'll go part-time, and then we'll find a part where it makes sense, and then I'll drop off.
Yeah.
Because when COVID hit, they kept me around.
Wow.
We had to lay off some people, and they kept me around. And I've always held that,
Right.
like, that could have been a really tough time if I got laid off.
Right.
So always
that-
trying to.
Yeah, that garnered some loyalty in you.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. So I feel that I owe them way more than a 6-month, what are you going to call that?
I guess-
Notice.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it's going to be a year thing. Like it'll be like, hey, I think it's time. But because I've also, for them, I've grown in a way where I handle clients basically entirely on my own.
Right.
So now they got to find someone that can either slip into that position or start finding ways to disperse that work out. So yeah, it will happen, and they're aware of it. They see, hey, I saw your video the other day, and like actually here in a month I'll have my annual review with my boss, and every year he's like, so how's the social media? I'm like, and last year I told him, well, Instagram, I'm at 20,000. Now I'm at 43 on Instagram and like 40, almost 40 on Facebook, and everything's just growing. Brand deals are going up. I mean, everything's just growing.
Right.
And so it's not a matter of when. I guess it is a matter of when. It's going to happen. It's just
Right.
I want to make sure it's a nice, easy transition for everybody.
So the social media is contingent upon you doing LeGrand Metalworks. Though,
Exactly,
right?
because that's what feeds it.
Yeah.
I've tried to. I didn't want to be someone that just makes stuff.
Right.
I wanted to basically triple dip. I wanted to be able to do a project, get paid for a project, take that project, film it, and monetize or, showcase tips, tricks on social media, and then also do long form because now I got YouTube going. So I'm trying to basically triple dip every single project I work on.
Right.
Do you find as a small business owner, do you find time to like kind of plan out, hey, maybe I'll bring someone else on at some point? I mean, what are your thoughts about that for the near future?
And that's funny too. I was literally just talking with someone yesterday about that. For me, I don't think it makes sense yet. I think what I see is I see the boys getting involved with me, and then like they take it wherever it goes. I'm not really building LeGrand Metalworks to be something that's like a generational company. It's just like a chapter of my book, I think is what it is. It's helping me get to that goal of just overall freedom. And if they want to continue it, awesome. If they don't, hopefully they learn some really cool skills that then they can do whatever with,
Well, it sounds like your 3-year-old's about ready to drive truck here, like age 4
He
or
drives
5.
a skid steer a lot. He pops in, he starts pushing those easy.
It's just completely legal in
It
Missouri.
is. It's a good thing it's got a cab too. That's actually one reason. Like my wife, she was only okay if it had a cab. That way they couldn't. That way, like if they got jerked around, they would just hit the glass. They wouldn't fall out. I was like, honestly, that's a solid safety.
That is a
net.
difference maker, the glass.
Another one of those tips you should call out.
Yeah.
3-year-old in the shop, make sure you have a skid steer with a enclosed cabin.
Tip for you beginners.
Yeah, I sold it to the wife as well. If it's got a cab, it means you're not gonna get hot when you're working in it. And she was like, okay. Because the other day I had her drive T-post for me, so I was setting them, and then she wasn't driving T-post. She was just driving alongside me so I can grab T-post out of the bucket, and she's driving back up the house. I really like this. Like I could hear it out the cab. I was like, dang it, I'm never gonna ride that thing again.
It's pretty, actually. Yeah, I'm a little jealous. You
Yeah.
having your own skid steer. I
It's
can see why that'd be fun.
it's invaluable. Loading hay, moving material. You find once you have something, you find everything for it to do. Like I had a little mini X. This thing, it would fit through that doorway. It's a tiny deal. I would move things that it should never move, but it was the only option.
Yeah.
And so I used it.
So your 3-year-old manufacturing consultant suggested that perhaps you needed a skid steer with tracks instead of wheels.
Yeah.
Or are you having buyer's remorse this moment?
So my oldest, I come home, I'm pulling in the drive, and he literally yells, "Skidster!" And because I had the window down, I knew it was going to happen. And I was like, yes, I love it, because I was so pumped too when my dad brought a tractor home, and getting to learn all those things was awesome. So it was like a quick little flashback of all times I was on the tractor, and I just thought, boom, he's in the seat too now. Like, now this is his thing. And so then, like 2 days later, we're going. So it's a store called Bumgar's. It's just a kind of like a Tractor Supply. And he's in the back seat, and he goes, "Daddy, we should buy a skid steer." I was like, "I got one." "Yeah, but it doesn't have tracks." And I was like, "Wow." If I've never felt so poor for some reason in the moment. Like, I don't even know. Like, for some reason that just hit me. I was like, "You're right. It doesn't have tracks. Like, I couldn't afford the one with tracks." And I was like, "Well, why is the wheeled one not good?" And he's like, "Well, it slips. It's compaction." And I was just like, I don't know where he's getting all this from. Like,
it's not Paw Patrol.
No, it is not Paw Patrol. But boy, they are on the rescue. That's for sure. He watches like some Handyman Hal on YouTube. There's a Blippy. And like I was telling you, if someone has a backhoe or something on a trailer, I think it was my wife. I think she called it a loader or something. And he goes, "Mommy, that's a backhoe." Like,
wow.
He is not afraid. He will correct you. And so I see some big things in his future. So that's why I want to keep tending to I want to keep showing him all the things that are out there, so that way he can do with it what he pleases.
You're going to have to keep this kid busy, because I can see in my mind's eye this kid's going to be called down to the principal's office for entirely different reasons than
he's going to be taking apart the desk is what he's going to be doing.
Shop class is going to be fun, though.
Oh, well, I'm glad you said that. So I want to get more people into my shop showcasing stuff, because our school, so to take shop meant that you weren't taking either geometry, Calc 1, chemistry, biology 2. Like, you weren't taking what the students considered the smart kid.
Right.
You had 2 routes.
Yeah.
I didn't take shop class.
Allegedly, you didn't belong there.
Yeah, because if I took shop class, then all of a sudden that erased the entire roadmap for all the prerequisites to get into college.
Right.
Wow.
Because at that time, it was all about, okay, so if I take, like, for instance, like the English and stuff, like, you had to have all your Englishes, had to have all your, it's just all your prerequisites. You have to have all these classes, so that way when you come day one of college, you can jump into whatever that next class is.
Sure.
So I really want, and I don't know if it's just it's probably just a small school thing. We had limited teachers. Not everyone can do.
It's so the same thing. I think it's a lot of places where the college track, like, occupies almost every hour of the school day for these students. They don't have their electives. Are not that plentiful.
Yeah, and I think one reason why it's pushed so hard too is because the teachers were getting paid to also teach those prerequisites or those college classes in high school. Like, they're getting paid, so of course that's bringing more dollars in for the school, which schools are already broke anyway. So of course, anything that's bringing in money is going to be the preferred way. Yeah. So
we're seeing it change, though. A lot of schools investing in tech programs, and I think, I've always looked at it. I mean, I've heard my parents, their parents, they all used to talk about taking woodworking in middle school. Wasn't even really a high school thing. They actually got introduced to it a lot earlier. And it's not that far removed from when they used to do that.
Correct.
And I think probably you're working your way back to a happy medium.
I hope so.
I would imagine. Because the amount of people we've had on this podcast that actually have found an artistic, their creative side has been through welding.
Yeah.
And there's not to say that all welders are creative and not creative people can be good welders. That's not the case, but it's just, it's a skill. That's all you're always going to have, and it's an outlet. The same way, not only in terms of producing metal parts, art, just kind of losing yourself, right?
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one guest, Eric Stevenson, who was kind of understudy, if you will, for a world-famous metal sculptor. And his whole thing was like, just you get in the shop and you do.
Yep.
You show up in the morning and you're busy every day.
Yep.
Right? And it kind of sounds like the tack you've kind of mapped out for yourself. Like
Yeah.
get in there and start just 4 to 9, start doing things.
Yeah.
Get your
100%.
experience. Get your experience in the shop, right?
Yep. 100%.
Would you do anything differently up to this point?
Like how I got here?
Yeah.
If I would have had shop class, I don't think I ever would have became an engineer.
No kidding.
Huh.
Wow.
I really
Why
don't.
not?
I think it's because I'm just such a, I guess this kind of ties into what you and I were talking about, Gareth, on the way here. I like old things, and having a trade, I feel like, is an old thing. And, you know, like when I work on pipe fence, out in nature is where I want to be. So even if there's an engine driving in the background, hearing the birds, watching the cows walk by or whatever it is, that's where my happiness is. And I think that comes down to just, you know, me personally. Like that's where I want to be, because welding still fills the problem solving need that I have.
Right.
There's plenty of things that I build that I'm like, how in the world am I gonna either attach these layers, or like, you know, once you get lights involved, okay, so where are the lights coming from? And if you have multi-layers, it's like, okay, are you going to put holes, or are you going to put little grommets? Like, how are you going to circulate that thing all the way through? Because I hate wiring. I will not do it.
Yeah.
I won't do it. So I buy Go V strip lights. Those are the best ones that I've found. I buy the exterior grade for every single sign, regardless if it's interior or exterior. And I just think of, okay, I'm starting here and start snaking it through the sign. And so it still scratches that itch of the problem solving, but I just really enjoy all the machinery. Like I was helping a local guy do some dump truck repair. Dirty, dusty. He's got the dump bed all the way up in the air. We got it blocked up. I'm like, this is just awesome. Like this is like it. I think it's just the overall experience of what comes with welding,
Right.
not just the welding. It's the environment, I think, is what it is.
Yeah.
So being able to just be outside all the time, that's obviously a lot more achievable than a structural engineer that needs to be at the desk working. Now, I could transition to, we do have some people in our office that do like basically site inspections to say the building, like, hey, we saw this type of cracking that's probably prone to XYZ. This is our fix. Like, I could probably do that type of stuff. But the issue now is I'm an hour from the city.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be driving that much.
Right.
I don't, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah. Quality of life type
Yeah.
of
So
excuse.
the more I can stay at home and do all those things, like, yes, I know for certain jobs you're going out to do those jobs,
Right.
but that's different. It's just not the same.
What advice would you have for somebody interested in kind of leaning more into social media? Because, I mean, that
Yeah,
becomes another kind of path for marketing, but also monetization,
100%.
as you mentioned.
Tell your story. For the longest time, I thought my story was bland. I went to school, did the internships, did the job, and I was like, there's nothing special about my upbringing. But a lot of people have that same upbringing. And so, like that post that I posted on Monday, the amount of people that have DM'd me saying, hey, I'm 30, I got 2 kids, I have a full-time job, I'm trying to do the 5 to 9, I really love this. The amount of people that have DM'd me or just commented, that shows me that by telling my story, I'm affecting way more people than I think. And it doesn't, like, because genuinely I thought my story had to be something crazy. Like,
right.
lonely and abandoned, or, you know, something like dramatic. And that's just not the case. People relate to emotion. So if you can tell your story, have a what, why, how, and then just be authentic. You can chase trends if you want, but do it how you would do it, because people will see right through. And it's a lot easier to be authentic in the beginning versus, I don't know, let's say you build 30,000 followers and all of a sudden they're seeing between the lines, like, that's not how he actually acts in person. Make it that whenever you make a video, when people come to see you in public, there's no difference.
Does it also help to have a wizard hat?
Oh my gosh, I love my wizard hat. That thing, so that all started, I literally when I was on I'll say the uptick, because I had one video pop off. It was a campground fire pit. And it was just me working through it almost got like 1 million views, and I gained like 15,000 followers within like a couple weeks.
Yeah, we featured you in the
Yeah,
the Welder
it was on
magazine
that.
with
Yeah.
that,
And so like at that point, I was like, I need something that whenever people come to my page, like they go, what? And so someone had called me a plasma wizard like way back. And I thought, what a funny thing, like to come to my page and like the first thing you see is plasma wizard. Like, what the hell is a plasma wizard? And like, I just feel like it creates curiosity. And then, so yeah, that came from Whoa Bros. I'm a sponsor for them. They make FR shirts and gloves and arm pad, like all sorts of stuff.
Apparently wizard hats.
Yeah. And well, the one and only FR rated wizard hat.
That's awesome.
Is
And
that custom made for you?
Yeah.
Wow.
And because I brought it up
Oh.
one day, I was like, man, we need to make a wizard hat or something. And he kind of chalked it off. And now I'm wondering if that was on purpose. He was like, Jake, shut up. Like, we're working on it. And literally, he's like, hey, we sent you something. I was like, okay. Open it up. And I think I did a video of the unboxing. I was like flabbergasted. I was like, no way. My son was pumped. I was pumped. And
Nobody in the business has that fit. No,
yeah.
no.
It's me is what it is. Being goofy, having fun, playing the shop. So going back to authentic, like it's just another component. And also like when a random scroller, why the hell does he have a wizard hat on? Like it just creates curiosity. So create curiosity, be authentic, and honestly just have fun. That's not to bring it down, but we're all going to die. We're all going to die, and we're going to be dead for a long time. So if you're looking back and you're looking back at the live section of us, it's this long.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
It's actually my life motto. We're all
Have
gonna
some
die.
freaking fun. So that's one thing I'm trying to do, and that's why I'm pushing so hard on everything. Is just like I want my wife to have fun. I want everyone in our life to be able to have fun with us, and we can have fun with them. That's all it is.
You got a wizard hat, you got a skid steer, and you got a new cow.
Life is good.
Things are turning up roses. Anything you want to add, Gareth?
Yeah, well, the new shop expansion too. I think you
yes.
said you had bought a storage unit
Shipping
or something?
containers.
A shipping container.
I
yeah.
am so stoked about this. So they're 40 foot apart right now because I was going to do, so out by us, chicken farms are everywhere and they're always taking them down, rebuilding, and people sell the old kits basically. Like you can buy
Right.
a 40 by 200 building if you want it. Like they sell the metal, the wood girts, the steel, like they sell everything. So I was talking with a guy and I had some trusses on the way and then they weren't coming, and then talked to another guy, same story, didn't happen. So now I'm just doing it to where I can build it all by myself because I want to show people that you can do that.
Right.
Like, yes, you might, not everyone has a skid steer, but you probably know someone, or you can rent them. They're not that expensive. So I'm going to be digging post holes, setting telephone poles, doing the wood framing. And that's where my structural engineering background helps too, is because I kind of know how all that goes together. And I've always been building stuff from, like I said, building a pen with no gate. Like I've built stuff for forever. And so the shop is going to be, so I'll have the two containers. One will house like, lawnmower side by side, like just the stuff that just needs to be housed. The other side, it's going to have flip up doors. And it's like when it opens, and like all the welders will be inside of it.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's also a dual purpose of, like, say we go away on vacation or something, all the tools are in a metal box.
Yeah.
So I'll have that. It'll have poles down the middle. I have a loft section. Man, we were opening up a can of worms right here. So I have a school bus. I also have a cab over truck. Part of my upbringing is not upbringing. That's not the right phrase. One of my, I guess, things I'm super interested in is just my grandparents and like how they did things and all that. And my grandpa had an old Ford cab over truck, and he'd haul cattle. I think it was like a 1949 or something. And he had a stock trailer. They'd haul cows, clean it out, and they'd go to the town, and they'd put benches in there, and they'd play music out of it.
Huh.
And I thought, that is just so cool. And then his son built his own car, had all the parts, and I have all these photos, so I'll share those with you. He built his own truck, and like his parents were so ashamed, or not ashamed, embarrassed of how bad it looked. Like they just didn't want him to drive, but he wanted to get to places, and he just figured it out. And I feel like that's like, I think his name, I think it was Leroy. Leroy like lives in me. Like I feel like that's where that welder came in.
Right.
And so what
There's
I'm
your
doing
headline.
is that Ford truck. I didn't get the same model, but I got a 1962 C700 Ford cab over Tiffany blue. I'm so excited.
Of course.
That frame, so I bought the school bus because to fix all like the brakes, the engine, like just going through all the components was going to cost more than what I paid for just the bus that runs and drives right now. So I'm going to pull the bus shell off. The bus is going to go up in the loft of the shop. I'm going to build an office into it. It's going to be like a big hangout spot up there. And then I'm going to have the ultimate shop truck, which is going to be the cab over. And what I'm doing to kind of commemorate them to my family is I'm going to put GW Stacy. I'm going to hand paint it on the side of the truck.
Wow.
I love history. I'm telling you, I love old stuff.
Yeah.
And so, excuse me, I just love old stuff, and being able to bring that back is just cool. And growing up, I didn't have time to tinker on a truck or, like do those types of things that all my friends were doing.
Yeah.
Because I was working at the restaurant. So this is kind of a way of like, I guess me just furthering you'll put C in my bio, skill collector.
Yeah.
I love just acquiring little bits and pieces.
Right.
And also tools.
Yeah.
That's the problem. But I think it's just fun just to have and it's also like I'm filling the need that I want, but then it's also for my boys. Yeah. I have all the tools. Go figure it out.
Right. To me, it's like carrying on a legacy you didn't know you really had.
Exactly. When she shared that with me, I was like, this makes sense.
Wow. Well.
I was like, maybe that lives in me, and I just didn't ever know it.
I think Leroy lives in me needs to make it onto a sign.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be cool. I'm actually going to blow up his picture and put it somewhere in the shop because like she had pictures of them like working in the field on these old tractors. Because I had an old John Deere A for a while. Oh, wow. Not very practical.
One cylinder?
2-cylinder.
2-cylinder, okay.
And that thing, it was awesome because my neighbor across the street, old Tom, every time I fire a thing up, it is louder than heck. And he's one of those guys that he would, when you go to talk with Tom, he'd start walking somewhere. It's because he's looking for somewhere to sit. He's ready to have a conversation. So every time we'd find a chair and he'd be like, I heard you fire up the John Deere. I said, yes, I did. But it just
like we have another podcast.
Oh, I'll come back.
Should have brought him.
Welcome, Tom.
Tom, have a seat.
Yeah. Oh, he would. He would. He invited me to the education center, i.e. the gas station. That's
the education
yeah.
center. I love it.
Golly. And I went. I met a couple people there, and he was like, "Hey, he can help you find a brush hog for your tractor." John, you got a brush hog still? I mean, just like they're all talking, and people are coming in, getting gas, getting their drinks, and these old guys are just drinking their coffee, yelling at each other. I mean, it's the environment I want.
Right.
It sounds
Pure
beautiful.
chaos. I love it.
That's funny. Anything else, Garrett?
I found a tracked skid steer for sale under $6,000.
Really?
And it's orange, so we can put the Fabricator logo on it.
Yeah.
I think if
it sounds like it might be good lawn ornament. Is what's for $6,000.
We're gonna let Gareth build the shelter for it outside.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Acquire some skills this weekend, Mr.
Right.
Gareth is now an equipment
Hey,
dealer.
that's how you get everyone involved. Say, okay, this is a project. Everyone's gonna have to put this together.
We got time for that.
Oh, I'm busy. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us, Jake. Where can they learn more about LeGrand Metalworks?
I'm everywhere. On Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, it's just LeGrand Metalworks. Facebook, it's LMW LeGrand Metalworks. I have a website, lmwmetalworks.com. Honestly, DM me, message me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. I love answering questions, and as you all see, I will give you an in-depth conversation, even if you're not looking for it.
Yeah. Or they can just go down to a gas station.
Or we can all go to the education center.
That would be beautiful. Would love it.
Drink our black coffee together.
There you go. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Lincoln. If you have any comments, criticisms, or complaints, send them to podcast@fmamfg.org. I'm Dan Davis, wishing you a good day.
The Fabricator Podcast is a production of the Fabricators and Manufacturers Association. The show is hosted by Dan Davis and Lincoln Bruner. The podcast is produced by Gareth Slager, recorded by Griffin Hammond, and edited by Dana Weicker. Additional support provided by Andy Flando, Elizabeth Gavin, Sarah Spring, Amy Hudson, Mike Owens, Billy Culpa, and Pat Simon. If you like this podcast, check out the FMA Podcast Network. Thank you for listening.
We can make that rewind sound.